In the last 2 years, I spent $10,000 to acquire marketing insights from six-figure entrepreneurs and have studied multiple marketing funnels, doing anywhere from 100K per month to $1 million a month. And in this video, I'll be revealing the main 9 insights that all of these high-ticket coaches out there use to scale their info offer to multiple 5 to even 6 figures per month. Because one thing I can say for sure is that they're not working any harder than you, or they have some secret formula. It's simply because they're just up to date, executing on the current marketing strategies that are working well, not what used to work out. And by the way, if you want my agency's help to help you with whatever I'm about to say in this video, then click the link in the description below. Anyway, let's just get right into the video. The first main takeaway is that you need to dial your messaging. And understanding the importance of this allowed us to help one of the people we worked with, a female coach, Jacqueline, booked 7 calls in 24 hours because her copy was strong and her content resonated with her ICP. And that's why when we urged them to book a call, they booked in, because the way she was talking in her content resonated with her audience so much, and they felt so much FOMO that the only way that they could get rid of that FOMO is by booking in a call and to see what's everything about. A lot of people get the concept of messaging wrong. It's simply knowing what your ICP is thinking about and rightfully communicating that message to them. It's like knowing their pain points, desires, what keeps them up at night, and like just explaining all of that in a way that resonates with them. And most people's messaging is extremely vague. I mean, like, they don't tell who this offer is for, or like the outcome or whatever, which results in them getting no conversions. Now, what you can do to actually like get conversions from the messaging is to, number one, make your messaging resonate with your audience. And also, do not make your messaging broad. Make it extremely specific. Like, tell the outcome of like what your ICP is gonna get. Tell exactly who is it for. Like, is it for example, instead of saying women, say 9 to 5 women. So you see, automatically you filter out a segment of the market. So outcome, ICP, basically all of that stuff. You need to be extremely niche in what you're saying so that you filter out the wrong audience and only attract the segment that is meant for you. And in order to get your messaging dialed in, you need to understand how to preface your value. Now, your ICP should know the lens you went to actually get this information from. And also, like, you shouldn't just give the information to them like, oh, here are 3 best ways. That doesn't work. In fact, they're probably not even gonna watch your video the next time you say this, because it is so, like, even you can take my hook for example. I told you exactly the lengths I went to. Like, I spent $10,000 to acquire this information, so you're gonna obviously be like, okay, this is something we should hear about. So you need to understand how to preface your value. You can do this by telling your story, giving your perspective, giving your perspective, giving anecdotes about how basically you were able to acquire this information or what you got to know about. This will do 2 things. Number one, retain your audience. Excuse my handwriting. And number 2 is that they're gonna respect you because they're gonna know the lengths you went to actually get this information. The messaging formula is pretty simple. You need to have ethos, which is credibility, pathos, which is, I believe, emotion, and logos, which is logic. Now, most people only have 1 of 3, which is why they aren't converting that well, because you might have ethos, which is the credibility part, but you don't have pathos, which is the emotion side of things. And a person will never buy from someone they don't resonate with or like they don't like or trust. That's why you need to have all 3 of these dialed in to have a proper conversion rate. So that's the first part, to dial in your messaging. Now let's move on to the second part. Marketing does 90% of the selling. Now, most people think the selling happens on the sales call or once the prospect hops on the sales calls. That's absolutely wrong, and no wonder you're not getting any conversion rate and you're not having a high conversion rate on your offer. That's why your prospects are no showing. You have a low show rate, and you have basically not many people converting to your offer. It's simply because you think that the selling happens on the call, whereas that's not true. And most of your content should literally handle all of the objections, questions, and you can only do this by showing proof, results, plus value. And now the question arises, like, how can you actually know their objections, questions, misconceptions, what they're thinking, so that you can make videos around it so that it targets every single one of your ICP's problem? Well, it's pretty simple. You need to basically use your sales calls, one-on-one coaching calls, DMs, like basically all of that stuff. Like, you take information from your appointment set of like what are the main questions, frustrations your people, like your ICP has in the DMs, and put all of this into AI. Once you put it into AI, you basically tell it to tell you the main like objections, like frustrations, all of that stuff. And once you have that, you just make YouTube videos around that. It's that simple. Because one thing you also need to understand is that people will never book in a call if they know they're not gonna buy from you. Okay? And you need to lay out all of the information they need to know before they're actually gonna buy from you, like what your offer is about, the results they're gonna get, even drop the price, because that way people will only hop on a call with you when they know, okay, like I can afford this. So once you get this done, you're gonna come across two situations. Now, the first situation is gonna be where you're gonna have a 10-minute call, which you're gonna cover over logistics and the overview of the program with the prospect, and they're simply just gonna buy from you. Secondly, they're gonna pay in DMs because they already know everything about you and they already trust you so much from the content that you've provided, is that they're simply just ready to get started. I want you to really think for a second. Imagine how smoothly your business will run when you come across these two situations, when you're not hard closing, when you're not begging people to purchase your offer. Imagine how smoothly your business will run. Imagine how much more you will enjoy it. Secondly, imagine the caliber of clients you'll be attracting. People will actually be enthusiastic in purchasing your offer, and they're not going to have the mindset of like, oh, if I don't get results, it's on the mentor. In fact, they're going to be like, I'm going to get results because I have the ability, and they're going to take full radical responsibilities. Like, wow, like that's the business you want to be running, and that's the clients, the type of clients, the caliber of clients you want to be attracting. And that's why you need to do 90% of your selling in the marketing. Now, the third point is YouTube hashtag number one. YouTube should be your number one platform priority. And the reason why I'm saying this is because 7114 rule simply states that a person needs to engage with your offer for 7 hours across 11 touch points in 4 different locations. Now, you can't get a person to consume 7 hours worth of your content on like X or IG. The only way you can do this is through YouTube. That's why you creating content on YouTube should be a non-negotiable for you, and because it's basically one of those activities, it's the 20% of the activity that will get you 80% of the result, which is like it's a high-level activity, so you should be focusing on it. And let me give you an analogy. Let's say you get 500 to 1,000 views on one YT video, whereas you get the same amount of views, 500 to 1,000 views on one IG reel. Now, this would equal to a 5-figure deal for you, no doubt in that. Whereas this would be nothing. You wouldn't create any money from 500 to 1,000 views on an IG reel, simply because the viewer came to your reel by an accident. They weren't intentionally looking for a solution to their problem or to understand more about a certain offer. They just accidentally came across your video. Whereas on YouTube, your viewer comes to your video because they have an intent of spending time with you. They don't just stumble upon your videos accidentally. Everything is intentional. That's why YouTube is the number one platform you should prioritize on. If there's only one platform you can focus on, it should be YouTube. The fourth part is, from my 2 years and analyzing multiple marketing funnels, I can assure you that the best marketing funnels that convert the best are not the most fanciest. They're literally the most stupidly clear and simple ones. They don't have multiple steps involved. Like none of that is there. It's just a simple process that anyone interested in their offer can follow. Now, the more complex the funnels are, the more confused the viewer is. The more confused the viewer is, and confused buyers never buy. That's why you need to keep your funnels extremely simple to the point. And you can take William Brown for example. His YouTube does 90% of the selling. Then he leads to the viewer who are potentially interested in buying his offer to a simple VSL funnel, literally simple VSL funnel, where he has a VSL which states like how I can potentially help you. He uses the word potentially, and then he basically, the person who's interested, they see the VSL, they see the results and book in a call. There's not multiple copy involved, none of that. It's extremely simple. Now, that's why when it comes to this, you should be focusing on few high leverage activities rather than focusing on multiple, like not high leverage activities like fixing your funnel, making it more complicated. That shouldn't be the case. There are two types of funnels you can run and direct your YouTube viewers to. Number one is a VSL funnel, and number two is simple Calendly link. Like just put the Calendly link in the description below, and you're going to be doing selling on YouTube anyway. So this is for only people who are interested. These are two types you can run. Now, the fifth thing is wow, not how. Now, most of you literally give everything, I mean everything out on your in your YouTube videos, and it's good, but I am telling you that you should gatekeep a little bit of information, because then if you give everything out, people will be like, oh, I already know how to solve this by myself, and then they'll end up doing it by themselves, and then they'll fail. After that, they'll literally blame you like, oh, this didn't work because the information Hadiya told me did not work. But that's not the case. The information and everything works. It just, you don't know the depth of the information. So I'd say keep some of your information, and always keep open loops in your content, so the viewer feels like they're missing something, which makes them have FOMO. And when they have FOMO, the only way they can get rid of it is by actually purchasing and investing into your offer. So that's why you need to keep open loops in your content. Do not reveal everything. Give them, like, make them feel curious about, oh, what's next, or like how in depth can this go into. Now, William Brown talks about this. I've given his example twice, but he just does this so well. He talks about this really well. He talks about how you need to wow the viewer instead of like giving them like all of the step-by-step information. You need to wow them by telling them why what you're saying is important, what it can do for them, and like this, like basically like the simple process. But like he's not telling them like, oh, step one, do this, and after this do this, and all of that stuff. He's not telling them that. This keeps the viewer wondering of like how they can achieve what they're trying to achieve through your mechanism, and like basically showing them the result. When you show them the result and when you wow them, it makes them feel pain of not having the result. Makes them feel FOMO, like I said, which they'll then direct to investing into your offer. So simply keep open loops in your content. Do not give everything away, and just wow your viewers instead of like giving them the step-by-step how process. Now, the sixth part is to reverse engineer on what makes you different. Now, genuinely, this is so important, because if you can understand why someone buys from you and why they're more inclined to you than your competition, you will literally 10x your conversion rate. And this is not even an overstatement, because now you know exactly what makes the viewer more inclined towards you, what makes them purchase your offer. So there's no guesswork involved. There's literally no guesswork involved. Everything that you see in your content is backed by data and backed up by proof, which is extremely essential when you're selling an info offer. One way you can do this is by your onboarding form. Like once you onboard a student or a client, you ask them like, what content piece resonated with you the most? Why are you more inclined towards buying with me? And all of that stuff, so that you understand what makes you different. You understand what makes you different. You understand their hesitation before buying from you, and you can use all of that to create content angles in your content. And then, for example, Sue, everyone knows Sue. He does it very well, and his main content angles is that because he's Asian, he's still in uni while like having a 400K per month business. Maybe because he makes his parents proud. You can see him using these 4 points as either a hook or telling the main when he's telling the main part of the video. All of that stuff, these are his main content angles, and the only way he's actually able to get it was through like asking his people, asking his students, all of that stuff. Now the 7th point is find your content format and double down. The only way you'll actually be able to do this is by posting consistently. There's no other way around it. You need to post consistently, see what your audience likes, see what they're not really inclined towards, see what comes to you naturally, see what takes you the minimal effort to generate the most results. And once you find that format, you need to double down it because it resonates with your ICP and it's easier for you. Once you have that format, you can pump out more content. More content will be pumped out on your channel. That means you'll get more conversions. Now, what I suggest is for every 3 videos that you create, 2 should be done in your format and 1 should be like a different video. Like this one over here, my past 2 videos were Mario board videos. This one has a different background, it's on a different format because obviously you're testing, you're trying, you're seeing what resonates, all of that stuff. So for every 3 videos, 2 should be done in your format and 1 should be different. Because you also need to understand that once you're doing videos in a different format, it will invoke different emotions every single time your viewers will see your content. Like basically keep your viewers away from getting content fatigue, which is extremely bad. They don't look forward to watching your content, which means that they're not going to probably watch your content because you stay away from content fatigue. You need to try different formats as well. Don't keep your videos too predictable. That's what I mean. And also the information in your offer is pretty simple in the sense that you know exactly the A to Z what your viewer needs to do in order to actually succeed with your offer. The information is going to be same every video. It's just going to be twisted a little bit, and obviously you're going to be going into more in depth into one topic in one video than in another one. But however, once you have the format different, it's going to keep the viewer engaged. The only way that'll actually change is the way that you're providing the information. Now, so far we've covered 7 points. There are 2 more points left. And if you're interested in working with me so far so that we can scale your offer with the social acquisition funnel, then you can book a call down below and we can talk about that. But for now, let's just get on to the 8th point, which is each content asset needs to be validated. If you're creating YouTube videos around guesswork, it's the biggest waste of time and money you can actually do because the content isn't validated. You don't know if your audience wants that, if the content idea is in demand, if it's a certain objection that you got. You don't know all of that. You're just creating content aimlessly, which will help you get no conversions at all. So every YouTube asset should be backed up by data, proof, analytics, all of that stuff. And what you can, one of the ways you can do is what I told you, is by understanding your ICP's desires, pain points. Because you can get 5,000 views on a YouTube video and you can get 1,000 views on a YouTube video. But if a 1,000 view video is more in demand, then you're gonna convert more from this 1,000 view video than this 5K view video, because it must be a topic that your audience isn't really looking for or they're not interested in. So that's why it's so important that you need to understand if the content idea is validated or not. When you have content assets that are validated, you're basically going to create a library of content that resonates with your audience. And it's basically meant for people in all throughout the buying journey, whether they're problem aware or they're problem aware and solution aware, or they're not even problem aware, they're just they came from one of your top of funnel videos because they want to see how you're making this much money in at this age, all of that stuff. That's one of the examples of a top of form video, but it's meant for people throughout the buying journey. So that's why when your assets are validated, it's going to help you convert more. It's meant for people in every stage of the buying journey, and it's going to make your content library more powerful. Now the last part, which is volume plus consistency. YouTube is by far the biggest lever you can pull in terms of scaling your high-ticket coaching offer, but most people aren't consistent with it. They do it once in a while and stop. One thing I'm going to make clear right now is that if you have no time to post, You're simply saying, I don't have time to scale my info offer. I don't have time to scale my coaching business. Because this is genuinely the biggest activity you can do right now to scale your coaching business, is to create a niche down content. And I've heard like this concern a lot of times on like sales calls I hop in, is like how to create consistent content. I've actually made a video on it, so you can check out my YouTube channel. But it's simply because, like, for example, I'll just give an example. If you're working with my agency, we're gonna have everything done for you, from like setting up your niche strategy to building out the Miro boards to post production to everything. So the only thing you have to do is simply just record. So everything will be done for you if you take like the route of taking someone's help. If you're doing it by yourself, then obviously it's going to take more time, but it's just something you need to get done. Otherwise, you're like simply just putting off scaling your business. And if you create like more consistent content, you can iterate and get ahead of your competition that's only posting once every 2 weeks or once a week, and then they take like a 1 month hiatus or whatever. You need to stick to your upload schedule. You need to pump out consistent content. So the volume, now question comes on to like, how much content should I really pump out? Well, that's an amazing question. You should at least do 1 to 2 times a week. So this can be easily done. This should be your target. Anything below this is not viable, and anything above this is not sustainable. Because let's say if you're posting 3 times a month, you don't want your content and the value and the quality of your content to drop. So to stay away from that, you should keep this as your center point. And also, posting 3 times a week is not sustainable. And if you're posting 0 times a week, then you need to up your game and post 1 to 2 times a week. So this is the sweet spot, in fact. So you should aim to get this. So you should aim to post like 1 to 2 times a week. I need to emphasize on this, that if you're not posting consistently and you're not iterating consistently, you're not gonna get leads through your content, because you can't expect to post 1 video and just like disappear and think like, oh, this video is gonna get you a lot of like conversions. There are one-hit wonders, but we're not going to go based on that. You need to have consistent YouTube content, validated YouTube content pumping out consistently. Now that's it. That's all for today's video. I hope you found some sort of value in it. If you're interested in working with my agency, book a call down below and we can have a chat. And subscribe, because I'm going to be pumping out consistent content and talking more about how you can scale your info offer through like consistent niche down content.